Welcome back to Light Talk, where the paranormal and supernatural is a part of our everyday lives. Today, I have so exciting of a guest with us today. I can't wait to get started. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, welcome to the show and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gayle Fowler. I was born and raised in Hawaii, but I moved to Colorado in um, 96 or so, about 96, 97, in between. I am an urban shaman, and I have had some major, I call them blessings, or some people call experiences or encounters with the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot, or I call them the Forest People. And I'm going to say our official sighting, and I say our because we were in a big group, it happened in 2017. Now, I always believed, even when I saw the Patterson Gimlin show, I always believed that, yeah, I believe they're out there. They're not fake. They're real, just like everybody else. Um, but when I went to, it's on the Navajo Reservation in between New Mexico and Arizona. And we went to a place called Sheep Camp, which is my friend's family's place that they go for the spring and summer. And while I was there, we had an amazing experience of when we went to do our offering. Some people call it giftings. We're walking towards this incline, and there was a big tree stump that we were going to put our gifts on, and that was like corn and fruits and cookies and this is peanut butter cups, that kind of things. And so that's the first time I really roughed it because this place has no running water and no electricity. And then how am I going to do my hair, all that stuff. And it is, there's cow patties all over the place too. And my friend's like, okay, no, we can't use flashlights. I think it was a new moon that we were walking into. So I'm like, okay, so we're carrying, I think I was carrying a whole bunch of corn. And we walked up towards the base of this hill, and we hear these hoots and calls and coyote sounds and all these things like from the left, from the right. And I'm just going like, what is that? And my friend's telling us, stay in your heart space, stay in your heart space. Um, so like I said, he goes, it's them. I'm like, them who? It's like we knew, but it was just I was in shock. And he goes, it's a Sasquatch. And we felt their energy going there. We felt this sense of excitement. All of us, because we're all gifted. And so we were all expecting, a lot of us are healers and things. So we went there and he goes, okay, now walk up the hill and, place your offerings on the tree stump. All of a sudden, this wave of heat hit me and my legs got all like it wouldn't move. And I'm like, it goes, all right, you can go two at a time. So we did. We kind of like went up there, dropped it off, and went back. I mean, it was an amazing experience because I'm one who wants proof. Well, what do you got right in front of you? You heard them. I thought maybe there was somebody having ceremony and people got out of the ceremony. He looked at me like, we're the only ones here. And I said, my analytical brain's trying to put it together, and I think it was the last day of our first visit there. And my friend told me about his grandfather had built this sweat lodge near this little pond. And we were on a logging road. So I'm looking down to find this sweat lodge. He's behind me with another person. There may be like 8 of us there. So I'm looking, all of a sudden I stop. And I'm like, what is that? So it was very tall. I knew it was from the back, but it had like beautiful, silky black hair, like all the way down. And I'm going like, that doesn't look like Patty. My mind's like, it's not looking what I thought it was. So I'm trying to get my friend Garrett, like he's right behind me, and I'm trying to poke at him, but Garrett. He's like, he's not paying attention. I'm stuttering and everything. So I turned around, looked at him, and then it was gone. He goes, well, what did you see? I said, I don't know what I saw. I said, you know what you saw? I says, I don't know what I saw. I said, maybe another person. He says, there's no other person up here. And I said, a raven. So I was in awe. I was confused because why was I the only one that saw it with everybody there? So it was very interesting experience, but the beauty and the love I felt was just amazing. But my logical brain going like, what did I see? So I go home, my husband and my boys, I mean, they believe in my gifts and things like that, but things that this would be a little bit out there. So I told them, and my boys said, Mom, I know you don't lie, but that's kind of out there. I said, you're telling me I'm the one who saw it, you know? So it's not like people say, oh, and then I was so no, it was like, what? What did I see?
Yeah.
And I've had several experiences in different states too. But the most recent happened in Bailey, Colorado.
Mm.
And again, I wasn't really looking. We were in a cabin. And I'm like, we had it was during my healers retreat, and we worked with the ancestors all day, so I was kind of beat. Everybody was tired, and a friend of mine, she's sitting on a bed next to the window, and she said, "Take a picture. I feel something behind me." And we were playing with oracle cards and all this stuff, so we were having fun. And I was like, "Oh, I'm tired." She goes, "Just take the picture." So I took the picture, and I'm like, I don't see anything. So I gave my phone to her and she blows it up and she goes specifically at the window she saw. And you can see the face, and it's not pareidolia. You can see the lips, you can see the nose, and he's kind of like looking in like that. And when I went outside, this is like from this last retreat, I took a picture and it's probably 8 feet from where his head was. And he was still kind of looking down. So it's one of those going, okay. And a friend of mine, she picked up his name was Charlie. I said, okay, well, Charlie's a peeping Tom.
No,
But so we've had some beautiful experiences.
that's
And so that's kind of
awesome.
my segue into seeing them, connecting with them. And here's the kicker with most people are they don't understand. It's like when you go in with an open heart, you don't have to try to bait them to come in, you know? Like if you sing, they'll come in. And my friend Ron Meyer, who he has and Alan McGargle, I think is how you pronounce his name. They did a movie or a documentary with myself and my friend Danny, the one who said she felt behind. And that was at a place they call Church Creek. And in the documentary, you see what we saw, mainly eye shine, but at a distance. And we started toning love and singing and saying thank you. And then one kind of came out, and they must have been maybe 20 feet away, but they came out and he stood there. It felt masculine energy. And one of the people who were documenting, she's like, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? I'm like, mm-hmm. And she goes, it's bigger. I said, yeah. I said, because we sang and we thanked them and we thanked them for allowing us to be in their space. So that was fun.
And by the way, there's a book with that. It's called The Strangeness of Bigfoot. No,
In Colorado.
the High Strangeness of Bigfoot. I got it, but I have it upstairs. Um, but yeah, it's a really good book so far. I'm about halfway through. Um, but it's
And the pictures actually are in the latter part of the book. So you get to see what he has in the documentary. It's also in the book. So that's
yeah,
fun. I mean, although I'm very open and more on the metaphysical, spiritual side, I like proof too. And so I've got two worlds combining to be able to have amazing experiences.
yeah. And she
So
was telling
that's
me,
kind of,
go
go ahead.
ahead. She was telling, we were talking before the show here, and in the picture that she has, there is a Bigfoot in there. And
Yeah.
yeah, there he is. There he is. So there's one right there. And then I volunteer at a play, summer camp, and I was up there walking around and I see this. So this
Yeah.
is mine of the
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot. And that was my first, I think. possible experience at that time until just now. She verified it for me. And so I'm totally excited to
So
see
for
my
us,
first one.
we'll feel it. And if there's like a zingy and zingy feeling, that's generally how we know that it's not a normal, a normal setup. But if you look at that, that's an odd way for a tree to have just fallen, and how high up is that?
That is probably 10, 12 feet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
because
those
it
are the,
you have this coming
mhm.
across, and then
And then
this
that
one here, it goes in between this one and this one. And then this guy
maybe,
here
yeah,
is
that
like,
exactly. And it
yeah,
has that little fork like.
just saw that. I just noticed that. Yeah, it does have that little notch right there. Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think most of us, when we're looking for footprints. So we're like looking down on the ground. And I remember one of the trips that I went to sheep camp, I just heard in my head, look up. And it's like, oh yeah, we're not looking up. And what we a lot of the activities that we got, it's surrounded by when we have kids with us. So the first experience we had a 9-year-old, and then the second experience where we were actually working closer with them, I think he was maybe 11 at the time. So it
Wow.
really helps. And the picture that I have in my background, that's actually in Mena, Arkansas. And
Oh, wow.
I I actually it's a place called Board Camp Mine. And I got some imagery and messages saying we need you to come to Arkansas. And I'm going like, I've never been to Arkansas. I don't know why I would go to Arkansas. I don't know where to go in Arkansas. But a
Right.
friend of mine, same guy whose family, he's Navajo, his family has a sheep camp. He goes, "Oh, I think I know where we're talking about." So, we decide. First, it was a pandemic, so we couldn't go. Then I got the request again when we finally could travel. I'm like, "Okay, guys, I think we're taking a road trip." And in my mind, I'm just going, "What if I'm wrong? What if I'm making this up? Am I crazy?" So that's part of me that is kind of like just get the analytical side. But the gift of something, like he keeps coming in, I keep seeing him, he keeps asking me. And so we go there, and as we're driving in, I'm asking my friend if there's a place where I keep seeing the Sasquatch or the forest person in the same spot. They're like these pine trees, grassy part, looks like a little pond behind him. And he goes, "Well, there it is." I'm looking, going, "No, that's not it." So I was like, "Oh, well." I mean, it was there was a crystal mine. We could, get crystals. So it wasn't such a bad thing. Um, but I think we got there in the evening. And then the next morning, we went and walked on this little path, and it turned, and right in front of me, I'm like, "Oh, that's it. That's where it was." So it gave me
Oh,
some validation to like, okay, I did not make it because I had never been there before. So little things like that.
nice.
And the picture behind me is actually a friend of mine did some adjustments, but it was actually more at dusk. And I had a camera that had some night settings for night shots. But I just got this message saying, go in the big field and take some pictures. I'm going, I don't take pictures, we just experienced them. So I was like, okay, fine. So I went in there and I just took snapshots. And then that was it. And we didn't see it till like 2 weeks later when we were looking at we were on Zoom and we were looking at all the different pictures we had for a presentation we're going to put together. And I'm like, what is that? And so
Wow.
it's like, to me, it's a gift. So we went there and they're allowing, and I don't know if that's the same one because in my mind, I mean, he's huge. I mean, I don't know. He's broad. He's very tall. Well, everybody's tall to me. I'm only 5 feet. He's broad, and I'm going,
Yeah.
that's him. So
Oh,
it's when you receive the call and you go, amazing things happen. Or like, why did you go to that area to find that? It's like, hmm.
yeah, it was kind of off the beaten path. So there's a road right there, and then it goes down into like a hill. The road is kind of on a hill, and it goes down into like a woodsy kind of area, and then it goes into there's a little creek right there. So it was in that on that hill, and is I just didn't in with the Bigfoot stuff enough to know. Okay, I've heard about the trees and stuff like that. So I saw this, and it's like I'm going to get some pictures just in case. And the
Right.
next time, yeah, and there was another set of trees that was doing the same thing. And the second next time we went up there, this second set of trees wasn't like that anymore, which I hear that's normal too,
Hmm.
that they'll take them apart. So that wasn't
Right.
there like it was before, but this one was still there. And so I left some peanut butter and some bubbles for them.
There you go. Yeah, that's the fun part. Now,
Yeah.
don't be surprised if something shows up at your house. Like sometimes it's maybe the bubbles or something, brought back besides what they leave you as a gift because you left for them. I'm just thinking, well, if they left us something, it'll be where we left it. But we're finding out, oh no, they know where we're at and they find and they leave us things. And it's just, I'm always shocked going, oh, this is amazing. So I don't want to say I'm a skeptic, but I believe, but I still need more validation, which is sometimes bad because it's like, why can't you accept it? I said, I do, but
Right.
so,
Right.
but I don't think I'll ever be, I don't think I'll ever go out and quote unquote hunt them because that won't happen. I don't think we need to because the kind of interactions we've had, that was without us trying to, like I said, bait them or anything. Like when we left the food as the offering, it's more of thank you for allowing us to be here. Not, I'm going to give you this in exchange for you to show up. And I think maybe it's
Yeah.
just the way we're thinking about it.
Right.
But yeah, we've
Yeah.
had some amazing, amazing experiences, I think, because we're heart-centered.
Yeah. I've had some pretty wild experiences right here at my house.
Hmm.
The first time I heard this, I believe it was them speaking in my front yard. I didn't see them, but they were near my front house. Um, heard them there. And when I heard that, I was like, I think I'm gonna go inside now. It just gotten dark and everything. So I was like, I think I'm gonna go inside. Um, and then just recently, well, even prior to that, I got pictures of this Bigfoot face on my fence. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa. And this is like prior to me getting into all of this. And um, so I have those two. And then I was told that I have some friends that are in my backyard. And I'm like, okay. So now I've got like this X on the ground in wood, a wood thing. And I've offered popcorn to them because I was told they wanted popcorn. So I gave them popcorn and bubbles and peanut butter and you know now I've got some alphabet letters for children I've put out there
Uh-huh.
so we can start spelling things out. And I actually got that idea off of you guys on your out of the book because you guys used the blocks with the letters on it and they
Mm-hmm.
spelled out welcome. And so I've got hello out there right now, but otherwise on top of that I've gotten like a 12 inches long and almost seven
Wow.
inches wide. And then this past weekend, I found yet another one that is like, what was that one? That was like 7 inches long and like three and a half wide.
The young
Footprint,
ones.
the
Yep.
baby. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I was like, yeah. So
I do have a recording too, but it's not necessarily um them communicating. At least I didn't think so. At first I thought, oh, it's coyote sounds. But it was odd that I woke up and I just it was like told record it. And I just happened to have my phone nearby. So it's not the best quality, but I've been able to take out a lot of the static. And a friend of mine who used to work for the state of Colorado's is it Fish and Game or whatever. She did a
Yeah.
lot of going out and doing projects and studies and stuff. So I said, Mary, can you listen to this? Does this sound like a coyote to you? And she's listening. She's like, that's no coyote that I've ever heard. And when I started doing a little bit more of actually listening and put my headphones on, I'm hearing different sounds. And I said, oh. And I know Ron Moorhead. I met him at a conference before, and he's the one that got the samurai chatter in California back in the 70s. So I was like, Ron, is this coyotes or, is it the Bigfoot? Because I said, I feel like they told me to record it. And he's like, he
Oh,
just listens, he responds back. He goes, I think it's coyotes. So many, that's what I thought too. But if you really listen to it, there's more. So yes, I'm getting the validation. Yes, that was them. Yes, they're speaking. And it's okay to say, and I'm going to go inside now. It's like, eventually
yeah.
we'll get, this the courage. It's a
Well,
friend
that
of
was
mine.
a
She
mix of
lives in
everything. So
Anacortes. Yeah,
go ahead.
but what you're experiencing is them trying to make that connection, you know. And a friend of mine who
Mhm.
lives in Anacortes, they have a lot of activity because where they live, it's also, well, where they used to live, it was really densely forested. And so they had interactions with them. And so finally, during the day, her husband was somewhere. And so she goes outside and says, I'm ready. I'm ready for the connection. I'm ready for the contact. And she said something ran by her, whacked her butt, and she's like, I'm not ready. I'm like, that'll probably be me.
I'm ready to see them. I feel like I've seen enough of their pictures and stuff that I would I'm not going to be like completely terrified to see them or anything. I think it'll startle me, but I think I'm ready to see them. Yeah. I was in your book, I was also reading, which is really funny because I've been talking to my husband about smelling like a skunk and a fox mix. I was like, how can
Mm-hmm.
that be? And I'm smelling this on the way to work and everything. I'm like,
I
what's the deal? And then in your book, I'm reading it, and then you guys say almost word for word for what I'm smelling, like a musty fox or a musky
mm-hmm.
skunk. And it's like, oh my goodness, that's what I'm smelling.
And some people, and it's like, you just may move maybe a foot or two away, and you're like, I don't smell it anymore. And then you go back to the same spot and it's there, and then eventually it dissipates. You're like, what was it?
Very
That's them.
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen many people experience it. We used to operate out of a Lutheran church where they had where it used to be the Sunday school classes. They
Mhm.
turned that wing into a healing arts center. And so, it's like we started getting experiences. I said, this is in a church, we're not in a forest. Um, but we had like sounds, we had the smell, like certain things. I'm going, oh, this is interesting. But for me, I think my journey started because um, my friend Garrett got to speak with Kiwoni Lapsaritis. And I think he did the Psychic Sasquatch, and he has several books. Um, but he introduced connecting with them when we were at uh, a, I guess you can call it a conference in Estes Park. Um, and So this is where my friend Garrett had learned more about it and how to work with them, how to communicate with them. And I like to share his story because he was like, yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's not sure. I mean, he works with animal spirits all the time. We work with other beings all the time. My opinion is that the forest people are more like elementals rather than animals. Like they have that oldness in them, that ancient energy. But so in this lecture, which I wasn't able to attend, they say, you just can ask for it. And they were getting hungry. And so he and his clan sister, he goes, all right, we're gonna ask them for pizza. And I forget what kind of pizza he was asking for then, but she goes, "Oh, wait, can you have them put mushrooms on it too?" And like they're laughing, right? And then they actually went to dinner, came back to their booth area, and I'm not joking because I did see the pizza there. They didn't talk to anybody. Okay, so it's just the two of them. There was a box of pizza on their chair, and right in the center there was a mushroom. So that started us as a group down that path.
That is
But yeah.
awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. I I've had some experiences with the cryptids, and that's where I kind of got going with this because hearing him was the first one out of the three that I've seen now. And it it's just I'm drawn to all of that now. It's like these cryptids, it's and now you're saying you have the feel that it's not even a cryptid, it's an elemental.
Mhm.
So
That's the way I put them, because of the
uh,
energy that I feel with them.
mhm.
I don't think they're animals, even the people, oh yeah, they're animals. They're like the apes. I'm going, just like we're apes. It's like they're very intelligent in the interactions. And I actually had, like I said, I was very blessed to have one of them in Chewelah, Washington, speak to me telepathically. And I just started learning about doing channeling and things like that. And we were out there, and I'm like, what is that? And it kind of looked like a motorcycle headlight in the distance because I saw one, and it was a silverish whitish color. And I happened to be with my friends from Australia. It was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning. We had set up for the conference and everything, and we're like, okay, I'm finally done. Now we're going to move all our stuff to the cabin, and we're talking, and I just made a comment, hey, we're standing in the four directions because we were. And then I said, but I don't know what direction I'm facing. I grew up in Hawaii. So I said, I know towards the oceans, towards the mountains, as far as I know. And then my friend from Australia goes, well, because I said, the sun rises in the east, right? He goes, not in Australia. And then that's when I saw it. And then I'm hearing in my mind, which I think everybody's hearing, like, keep talking. She wants to learn more. And I'm like, did you guys hear that? They're like, no. I said, well, we're not alone because that one became two. And she was pretty tall. I want to say probably more like 12 feet. It was, and I said, I think they're bigger in Washington. But they turned around, and she was more like in the shadows, but you could see her silhouette and you could see her eyes, and she was talking. And I'm like, you guys don't hear that? They're like, no, what's she saying? And I said, well, she asked us to continue to talk. And what do? We all turned around and we stopped talking.
Yeah, don't we always do that though?
So,
So
it was just a blessing, to have that in interactions, and me wanting to have more people experience what I'm experiencing. Well, there were four of us. And then another group of three people came. So there were seven of us, and the other three were published authors, and they had all these things. And I told what's going on, my friend Sunbo, and he goes, well, what does she say? So I told him. And one of them, this was back in, I think it was either 2017 or 2018, when we had that statewide, there's a whole bunch of fires throughout multiple states. And when we're going to Washington, we weren't even sure if we could go there because, of the fires. And so one of them flicks his cigarette, and of course the ash goes. And I saw her whitish silver eyes turn to like an orange red. And I kept hearing in my mind, fire, fire, fire. And I turned, it's like as soon as she said that, I saw it. So I went to it and I kind of like stomped it out, and I said, no, 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 it's okay, it's okay. And then it became bright, and then it went kind of like dimmed, and then it went to a very dim silver white. And I was like, wow, I got to experience that emotion and what triggered her. And the guy who did it goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it. It's just a habit, but it was like my logical brain going, this all happened at the same time. And she said fire, and I happened to see it. It was like, Gayle, you can't make that up.
yeah, yeah.
So I,
And
over the
wow.
years,
And has he stopped smoking and stopped flicking them
I
out the
wish,
windows?
no. But what I know now. But what's
Uh,
interesting is that one of them, my friend Sunbo, had an interview with somebody from Canada, and she did an interview. I guess he was headed back, and he had an interview with her, and he brought up the story of what I experienced. Now there were two medicine men there. There were all these other people there who were way more experienced than I. This was kind of like I'd never seen eye shine before. I'd never experienced it. This was new. I was the newbie, and he shared the message that we received. And
that's
I was
awesome.
just like in shock, going, well, I'm still don't know if I heard it, but I just repeated it. But my heart told me that it was right. But my logical brain's going, Gail, are you making this up? I'm going, I don't
Mhm.
think so. Because I was born
Right,
this way. I didn't think I could talk to a Bigfoot.
right, right. I never thought this, and here I
But there
am
was love. Yeah.
close to it. Yeah.
And there's love. I felt safe, not fear.
Hmm.
Although my friend from Australia goes, you want to go in? I said, no, just gonna hang out here. He goes, no, do you want to go into the forest? And my legs just locked. Same thing that happened my first. I got all warm and I was like, fine.
It's so good.
You
Maybe
can
next time.
go then. Yeah.
Maybe next time. Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is that we went in the next year and we saw a lot of ships, starships, like, and we're because there's no light pollution, and the way they're moving is like that is not a plane, and that is not satellites or stars. And my neck was like, oh, okay, my neck is hurting. So I just decided. I said, in my mind, I'm speaking out. I guess I'm speaking telepathically. If you're here, the one that I met last year, I'd like to know that you're here. And next thing you know, looking straight ahead of me, I see the two eyes. And my friend from Australia, he and his wife were there. And I looked at him. He goes, I see her. I'm just going, wow. He goes, why are you surprised? You asked. I said, yeah. So I think it's just, it's almost like the, how do I put it? It's like the innocence in a way, I mean, like I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just thinking, well, maybe she can show up. And she did. And again, my logical brain, well, I got somebody who can validate because they saw it too. Did I need it? Most people say you don't need the proof. I was like, yeah, I do. So
I'm,
that's kind of been my
yeah.
experiences, and I've been blessed to, like, almost everywhere we go, we have something happen. Or if it's not happening to me, it happens to somebody else, or the energy that comes in. I'm just so grateful that they come in and they teach us things, which then we can share with others. Um, but I think the biggest part is what you're experiencing, what a lot of us are experiencing. It's like they're desensitizing us so that when they do come forward, we won't
Yeah.
run for the hills.
Right. Or city, but they're in the city. That's where I'm at, and I'm seeing them here. So,
They can, yeah, they come in the city. In
yeah.
fact, my friend Garrett used to live in like the center of downtown, and there were these rocks that appeared. Like the thing was the day before his birthday, and it's nothing. There's no landscaping rocks that looks the same, and they were all different. And again, it's like that energy. If you could feel the energies, and he wasn't sure if that was it, but everybody felt it. It's like, okay, guys, be careful. You can't just walk around here. And they're like, oh, they're fine. They can pop in and pop out. And so he did have a lot of experiences in downtown Denver next to a fire station.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
So
coming out. They're
mhm.
coming out.
I
When
think
I
it's
met,
mental because of what they're capable of doing.
yeah, when I met you, it was at a Bigfoot festival up in Estes Park.
Right.
And I was talking with some of you guys, and you were saying that there has been recently this year, there was one that was seen on just off of 287 near or in between Berthoud and Longmont. So I was
They're
like,
there.
they're here. And then that really made it more realizing for me that it could be in my backyard.
Well, I mean, of course, technology is much more advanced. We have the ability to have personal recorders, personal, you can take your camera and use your phones and all this. That's more accessible, but they don't just show up to anybody, and that's the part that those who captured, they're like, I didn't know, it just kind of showed up. And I think that's the point that, they're going to show, as this is what I was told when she was talking to me in Washington State. um, Sunbow told me, well, that's because she chose you because of your big heart. And I'm just standing in awe going, really? It's like I'm
Shucks.
I'm like I'm like so honored, and I'm even telling her like, thank you so much. I am so grateful for everything and being able to speak with her. So I'm just humbled every time.
Yeah, it's still very pretty new to me, and so it's still learning how to communicate and how to, there's a lot of things I need to learn yet, but and we'll never stop learning. But I mean, it just to kind of get it moving and everything. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Well, that's what a lot of people think. I have to learn how to do this. I did not know how to do that.
True.
you know, it's almost like it just happens. So if you speak from your heart, you're saying thank you, or oh, I see this, thank you so much, or I'm leaving this for you. You can play with it. You're still communicating with them. You may not hear them with your ear, but maybe you have an emotion that's sent to you, or maybe a picture, or they'll leave something saying, "Oh, look, we messed with this, and now we have something for you." So it's more for us who are, because they know we still want to, we still doubt it. And when they do those stuff, you're going like, okay, well, I did ask for the proof. Now what do I do? And
Yeah.
I feel like you're already there. You've already established a connection with them, and they feel safe enough to come into your yard.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
you're
feel that
leaving
too.
them things. So don't be surprised if you get something, especially when it's inside the house. You're like, wait, when did you get in my house? That's the part that people don't understand, that they can do that. Or you're like, you'll find maybe this hair that it's not yours. There's no other animals, and it's like, where did this come from? Or you'll smell the scent inside the house, and you're like, so some people say, oh, boundaries. I don't want you in my house. Okay, well, you can just tell them that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're always going to listen, especially the younger ones. They are so mischievous. And we had one of our first encounters. We were on the Navajo Reservation. My friend Garrett's brother let us stay in his RV. So there's like bunk beds on this side, and you got like a I think it was a queen bed, and there's a another bed in the middle part. So it was
Right.
cold. We were all tired, and all of a sudden, the whole RV shakes, like boom, boom, boom. And there's like, what? And so the others were closer to each other. I was further away. And I remember going, what is that? And I'm like grabbing to the side, like, what is that? And then, um, it shook so much. And then you hear the dog, almost like a run, do, 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 and then the dogs are barking. Well, the dogs barking to really set me off, going, what was that? And my
Right.
friend said, we thought you would go use the bathroom. I said, that big to cause the whole RV to shake that much? But when I tapped in the morning, I got this vision of like they're the young ones. So like, will you go in there? Like in the movie Finding Nemo, they're like, you go and touch the boat type of thing. You do that.
Yeah.
And so visual that I'm getting, and I'm laughing. There, what's so funny? Is it what I'm seeing? It's almost like they're egging him on. You go and step in there. And I think they called it step in the box or something like that. I can't. It's like it was a while ago. But I think he didn't realize, because he's so heavy, the reaction. And I was just laughing. I'm like,
Oh,
okay, that was a total, messing with us. Another friend, she brought her husband. First time he went to
yeah.
shoot camp. Other RV there, and he said around 2 o'clock, something went across the bottom, of their RV. It's like bam, 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 bam. He thought some people, like one of us was trying to go in, so we had to use the bathroom or something weird like that. But when we looked
Uh-huh.
in the morning, there were handprints. There were handprints.
Oh,
They were they were smaller than his hands, a little bit smaller than mine, but it was bigger than in the kids that he had with them. And again, it felt this buzziness to it. But what's ironic when we find the footprints, I mean, not the footprints, the handprints, it's very greasy. It's almost like it holds the dirt very well, so you couldn't like just smudge it off. And what's
oh, wow.
unique is that you can see the nail, like the nail leaves a print. I'm going, how does they do that? And how can you make your nail create like the fingerprint? So that for us is another indication of that is not human.
Right. I'm like, wow, that's wild. Yeah.
So, when you don't have, you just, I think you have to just pay attention. Because we went
Yeah.
to Arizona, my friend took us to this place. I think it was Cochise Monument or something like that. And we were doing all kinds of things, like saying thank you to the land and doing some offerings. Came back to her car, and there were two handprints, looked like a kid's handprints. And I looked at her going, and I looked at the other two. Did you guys hear anything or sense anything? We're like, no, we were just having fun there. And it was the same thing, that greasy that holds all the dirt there so you can see a really strong print. And I'm going, oh, well, my friend Amy, I'm like, okay, Amy, now you know that they're here.
I'll have to watch for those too, because
Yeah,
I can imagine that on my car. So
it's what we just got to pay
yeah,
attention. One of
yeah.
my friends, actually on the inside, most of us, it's on the outside. Their handprint is from the inside of the car. I'm like, okay.
That's pretty
So,
funny.
well, having fun and just, like I said, have fun, um, joy and laughter, sharing anything that you want to talk to them about, or just thanking them for the interaction. And then maybe off do an offering or a gift, saying this is for you, and I'm just grateful that to know your presence or something like that. Some people ask for gifts, and some people get some amazing gifts. Some people will say, I left marbles in Arizona. Then I went home and it showed up in my house in Colorado. Like, okay. And again, it's for us, it's that buzzy feeling, but it was a unique type of marble. So not like, anybody can do it. But they said, I don't have any marbles at home, but it showed up. And it's like, there you go.
There you go. That is so awesome. What a beautiful story. What beautiful experiences. I mean, this is just unbelievable, but so exciting to me, anyways. It's like,
Well, my friend told me since our first experience, she's like, because we've been to sheep camp, I don't know how many times, but she's like, don't expect it to be the same interactions that we got the first time. I'm like, why not? It's like, I want that. And it's not quiet, but it wasn't as pronounced, I guess, as the first time. But recently, there's been a lot more activity. In fact, one of the girls, when we went, the last time we went, there were two people. I heard the footsteps, which is unusual. Normally, you don't hear their footsteps, but I was like, okay, there's something crunching the leaves nearby. And we had just put in, like our last night there, we put tons of stuff there to leave. And I kept hearing like, okay, you guys can leave now. You can leave now. And they're still kind of hanging around. So I moved to the side. And one of the people said she felt like her ankle, like somebody was touching her ankles. And then the other one was her calf. so it's dark. We don't have the lights there. And she comes like right after me, and she grabs me. So I scream from her grabbing me. And I just
right?
looked at her go, you were touched? She's like, yeah. I said, well, you scared the crap out of me just grabbing me. But it was most like saying, hey guys, can you go? We want to enjoy the food. So,
Yeah, it's time
so
to
I'd
go
say,
now.
so the
Move along.
listeners, just tell them, just go out there with good intentions. And I would say release expectations. And you may think you didn't have any experiences, but you probably did. You're just not sure how to process what happened. And it's like, you know, when someone's nearby, when you're being watched, you can feel that. So then maybe go a little further saying, okay, I can feel you're there. You know, I'd love to, you know, maybe if not see you, you know, saying, I'd love to be able to communicate with you. You know, just you kind of talking out loud. You can talk in your mind too. Telepathy is not as hard as I thought it was. It's like you just thinking something and it comes out. Because, like I said, I didn't know how to do that. And then she was talking to me, so I'm thinking back. But the first time when I received something, because she asked if I was male or female, and it was like cold, like in the maybe upper 30s. And so I'm like wrapped up in blankets and shirts, and me being the crazy me, I just grabbed it and I said, female, and that's all you get. And I closed it. So and I'm laughing, and the other guy's like, what did you do? I said, she asked if I was male or female. And we all started laughing, and it felt like that kind of broke the ice, you know, and it just felt a lot more comfortable. And she stayed longer, you
Oh,
know. So that was amazing that she hung around.
yeah.
So that's why I say I feel blessed because I didn't ask for it. I wasn't looking for it, but I was so thankful.
Right.
So
Right. Well, we have a couple more minutes left. So, yeah, is there anything you would like to say to
what I
everybody
would
or?
like to say is I don't know, some people they might have seen the movie. I think it's called Smallfoot or Littlefoot. I think it's a Disney movie. It's a cartoon and it's about the Yeti. And it's a great show. It shows a lot about the interactions, but from the opposite side. So their interactions they've got human artifacts, you know, footprints and things like that. And so in the movie, there's like they said, here's a sacred scroll. And they got this little twig and it's a roll of toilet paper. For
Oh,
their here's a sacred scroll. But then there was a human that actually ended up getting into their place, and he's like, oh, and he uses it, and of course, now they know what it's for. So yeah, it's called Smallfoot. Um, but at the end of the movie, because of the interaction with man, the Yetis went further up into the mountains, and they don't have interactions with the humans. But they had to bring back the human because he was dying. The altitude was too high for him. And then they have this interaction where they come out, and then the people of the city come, well, of this town, they come together. What a beautiful sight. You know, neither one is trying to hurt anybody. It's just the coming together. And that's a vision that I've seen a lot where they're here to help us, to teach us, to remind us how to live in harmony with the land. I know that kind of sounds woo woo, but that's what they're saying. And it makes sense, you know, and then that way we can work side by side. So I've seen murals and things like that of the forest people working side by side in the olden days with the humans or the natives of that area. And something happened which made them, you know, separate like anything. Probably a bad apple. One of the guys was just not a good person or a being, and they hurt a human, whatever it was. But I feel like that's what they want to move back to be able to live in harmony, and to be able to coexist. So I personally think that's why we're seeing more people seeing them, you know, and they're there, they're ready to help us, to work with us, but also to learn from us as well. And you know, we all know it, like the human race, there's some bad ones out there. So is there any force people that are bad? Possibly. Um, So knowing that, you know, just follow your heart. If you get a message, you need to get out of here. Go. Don't say, no, I want to do this. I want to go in here. I want to do this. Um, it's our ego that's making us do that. But if you get that sense like, I don't think I should be here, listen to that and go. And maybe in the next time, if you want to go back, you ask for permission. Do I have permission to come here? Do I have permission to move forward, to go, you know, go in deeper? And you'll get a yes or no. You'll know when it's a no because you're like, oh, I guess that's a no.
not
But
this time.
It's like saying somebody comes to your house rather than knocking on a door to come in. They just come in and they've got a gun, and you've got young ones and family there. What are you gonna? You're gonna protect them. So any of those stories where they say, "Oh yeah, like rocks were thrown at us, we were being yelled at," it's like, well, you just walked into their living room without permission, so they're trying to get you out.
Right, right. Well, yeah, that's a great information to go by. Yeah, I try
So
to go by that too. So
when you're out there in the forest, just sing a song, um, hum something, because when you're singing, you're not mad. I guess it depends what music, but
yeah,
but generally you're in a good spot. And
right.
we've counters as a result of that, or when we think there's no activity, and then we just start singing. And I said we have to honor the land, thank the ancestors, thank the others for allowing us to be here, and then to come forward. I'm like, wow, that is so cool.
That is cool.
So
That
that's
is cool.
my closing, I guess you could say. But
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you.
having
Thank
me.
you. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I'd love to have you back on so we could talk about some of the other things that you've experienced and have knowledge and skills of. And I think it'll be awesome. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you. And we'll have
Thank
to get the
you.
rest of the team around too.
Yes, that'll be fun. Thanks, Dana.
You bet. If anyone else out there has a story you would like to share, email me, lighttalk423@gmail.com, and we will talk with everybody next time. Bye.
Bye. Maybe they don't want us to end it.
I can't.